DTG, an Epson Stylus Pro graphics reseller and systems integrator in Tampa, Florida. Today we'd like to introduce the Epson Stylus Pro 4900 printer, the long-awaited replacement to the 4880 series. Basically, the 4900 is a completely redesigned and re-engineered 17-inch wide printer. The 4880 was basically a upgraded version of the 4000 and then the 4800. So this is a brand new printer, complete redesign, as I said. The features of this printer is that it uses the new Epson Ultrachrome HDR ink set, which features orange and green. It also has on board matte black and photo black at the same time, and does auto switching. So real important feature if you're printing on photo black and or photo papers and fine art papers. Also features a new rotary cutter blade. The rotary cutter blade will cut through fine art papers, canvases, heavy thick papers. It'll also do auto feed, which basically means it will automatically select based on your setting from the computer whether to choose from the sheet or the roll. And then finally, the new Epson 4900 is faster and quieter than the previous series of printers. Completely new redesign, great product. Today we're going to talk about basically unboxing, setting up, and starting the Epson 4900 printer. So when you've made the decision to purchase the 4900 and you're speaking with your DTG sales representative, make sure you clarify whether or not you want a lift gate or not a lift gate with the shipment. As you can see, the 4900 is a big box. It does come on a wooden pallet, so that's the only thing you're not seeing here. So it is pallet wrapped. And it's a heavy box, so if you do need a lift gate out of the truck, make sure you specify that with your DTG rep. So as you can see, this is off the pallet, and this is how it's going to come in. The first thing we're going to take note of is basically this UPC code in the upper right hand corner here. We're going to go ahead and cut and then just rip that off, and then just keep it for our records with our warranty information. You never know if this could come in handy at some point. On the other side, basically, or down here on the bottom, we've got these white plastic handles that help you pick it up, but they also secure the top of the box to the main part of the printer box. So we'll just pop these open, and then there's two on the exact opposite side as well, so we'll pull those off as well. And then finally, at the top of the box, we've basically got an area where we can cut out. It says open here for installation instructions and documentation, so we'll just score that out, pop it open, and then reach inside and get the warranty information. Once you take the top off, this is what you'll see. So with a bird's eye view towards the top, you'll basically see the section where the ink cartridges are here and on the left side over there as well. You'll also see the spindle for the paper rolls, and then you'll also see a spindle adapter. After you've removed the top styrofoam pieces and taken the printer out of the box, we're now ready to start taking off and removing the packing tape on the printer itself. Now before I start with that, I want to make sure that we emphasize how heavy this printer is. It is 89 pounds and definitely does require at least two people to lift it out of the box and put it on your desktop. Okay, so what we'll do first is we're going to remove these two pieces of tape that hold the output tray in the printer. All right, so we'll just basically remove the output tray, and then you'll see there's a bunch of tape on the output tray as well. We'll go ahead and just remove all that. And then we'll also go ahead and remove all the rest of the packing tape with the printer. So there's several pieces all around on the top, on the front, on the sides, and on the back of the printer, and we'll go ahead and remove that tape now. So once you turn it on, the printer will initialize and show you this splash screen. The head will actually come out of its capping station and move to the left and the right, and then finally you'll get a no ink indicator on the front panel. So once we've turned on the printer, it's initialized, and we get to the screen where it says no ink cartridges. We'll go ahead and install all of the ink cartridges. Like other Epson printers, you install ink cartridges on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. So to do that, we just push that door and then it releases the ink cover. The ink cartridges come in these plastic bags. It's important to go ahead and mildly shake them for about 15 seconds before you put them into the printer, and that helps agitate the pigments in the ink cartridge. All right, so once you've got it shaken, there is a little tear notch in the upper right hand corner of these, so if you want to just tear down, it'll basically allow you to easily open up the ink cartridge from the plastic bag. The top of the ink cartridge has got a arrow in the color of the ink cartridge. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and align that ink cartridge into the slot, and then just push it in, and it'll click once it's inserted. So at this point, we'll go ahead and shake all the ink cartridges and then install them in each of the 11 slots that we're going to put the ink. So we're down to the last cartridge. We'll go ahead and insert that into the printer, let it click, and then close the ink cover, and the printer will start initializing the ink charge process. So once that cover is closed, you'll notice the front panel now says, "Please wait." This is going to self-initiate the ink charging process. It's real important to note here that you don't want the printer to lose power during this process, because if it does, if it interrupts in the middle of the charging process, you'll have to start all over again, and it could basically waste a ton of ink, and you may even need to get new ink cartridges. So make sure that this thing does not get turned off or the power unplugged or you lose power. It will give you a status indication as far as how long this process is through the process, and it does take about 10 to 15 minutes. So once the printer is finished charging the ink system, the status display will basically show you all of the ink colors. You'll notice that they have gone down a little bit because the charging process does consume a little bit of ink. To the right of the ink colors are two brown bars. Those brown bars indicate the maintenance tanks on the printer. Different from the 4880, the 4900 has two maintenance tanks. The main maintenance tanks for cleanings and charging, and then also a border-free tank. So the main maintenance tank is actually in the right ink cover down here, and I can just pull that out, and there's your maintenance tank for the main maintenance tank for the 4900. The border-free tank is basically only used if you do borderless printing. So if you're doing, automatic borderless printing, the border maintenance tank is accessed actually where the paper tray or the output tray is. I don't know if you can see this, but there is a little slider that allows me to lock and unlock the apparatus for the border-free maintenance tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide that to the unlocked position. That'll allow me to grab basically the border-free tank, and that's what it looks like. So to insert that, we'll just slide that right back in there and then lock it. All right, going back to the front panel, we'll talk about the buttons. We won't go into the menu system just yet, but we'll talk about the front buttons here. You've got the main power button. You've got LED indicators as far as ink out or ink low or paper out. You've got a pause and cancel button. This is the white button here is the paper roll release button to load and unload roll paper. This is the cut button to activate the rotary cutter. This is the black ink switch button. So if you want to go from photo black to matte black, you can press that button. Or you can also push and hold it for 3 seconds, and it will initiate a manual cleaning on the print heads. All right. Important on the black ink switch, you can set the front panel to automatically switch from photo black to matte black with your driver setting, which it would look at your paper setting as photo paper or matte paper and automatically switch, or you can have it manually do it. So you can set up the front panel, basically don't change black ink unless I actually push that button. The center buttons are basically your paper feed up, paper down, your switch from roll to sheet mode, and then your menu button here to the right, which allows you to access all the sub-menus, and then finally the OK or the Enter button. So now that the inks are loaded and the printer says ready, the first thing that we're going to do to ensure the best quality of printing is to go ahead and do a print head alignment. Now I'm going to do the print head alignment actually through the front panel or the menu system of the printer, but before I do that, I've got to load paper into the machine. So in this example, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and load the sheet or the tray holder. And basically, this is Epson enhanced matte paper. When we're doing the head alignment, it's important to use an inkjet coated paper, not like plain paper, but luster will work, enhanced matte will work, glossy will work. Just make sure that it's an inkjet coated paper. So to load sheets in the lower tray, we're just going to grab it and pull it out. We've got these guides that adjust to the size of the paper that we've got. So we're going to take our stack of enhanced matte paper, push it into the printer or the tray until it stops, and then just align the guide, all right, to the edges of the paper. What I'm doing here is I'm putting the paper in print side down. Okay, so basically print side down, align the guides, and then we'll just slide the tray in, put the cover on, and now the paper's loaded. Alright, so once we get the paper loaded, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the printer is in sheet mode. Now, default out of the box, it is in sheet mode. If for some reason it got changed to roll, we would basically hit the left arrow button, which is also the sheet roll button, and we would select which paper method we want. So I'm going to go down basically to cut sheet, select cut sheet, and we're ready to print the head alignment pattern. So once we have our paper loaded in the tray, we'll go ahead and initiate the head alignment process. Again, we're doing this from the front panel. There is an option to do it with software. However, the front panel method does do a much more thorough job, so it's a better, more accurate way to do it. So to get into the head alignment, we're going to hit the menu or right arrow button, and then we're going to scroll down to head alignment. We're going to go to the paper thickness option, hit the right arrow, paper type, right arrow, and then select the type of paper that we loaded in the machine. In this case, or our case, it was enhanced matte. So we'll make sure enhanced matte is selected by hitting OK, and then we'll back out, back to the head alignment menu, and then scroll down to alignment, hit the right arrow. We want to make sure we do an auto so that the printer reads it itself. Hit the right arrow one more time, and you'll see 3 choices in this list. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run 2 of the 3 here. The first one I'm going to run is Uni-D. That's UNI-D. After this one finishes, I'm going to come back into the auto alignment, and then I'm going to skip by D5 color, and then I'm going to go right to by D all. So Uni-D first, then by D all. So once I've got Uni-D selected here, I'm just going to hit the right arrow button, and then the option is going to be print. So I'm going to hit OK to select print. So by hitting that button, basically the printer is going to pull the paper in, print out an alignment pattern, then automatically go back and read that pattern and make any necessary adjustments to align the print head. All of this takes place automatically. Once this is finished, I'm going to go back in and make sure I run that auto alignment by D all pattern. So we showed you how to load sheet paper. Let's see how to load roll paper in the machine. We've actually got roll paper loaded in the machine already, so you'll see how to unload it. So to unload and load roll paper, there's a roll paper button in the upper right hand corner in this section right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and push this white or grayish button, and what that's going to do is go ahead and unload any roll that's in the machine. Just rewinds the paper out and then unloads it. So basically the 4900 does use a spindle, and that spindle does adjust to different size medias. To take that off, or to unload the media from the spindle, I'm just going to grab the black end of it and pull that edge off. The media comes completely off the spindle like so. Now we also have these 3-inch roll adapters that basically allow us to adjust the cores that are larger than the standard 2-inch. Alright, this is a 2-inch core. There's also photo materials and fine art materials that come on 3-inch cores. So these are 3-inch core adapters. So if I'm going to a 3-inch core, I'm basically just going to drop that adapter over and just snap it onto the core. Now I also have another one for this end cap as well. So that's how you switch between 2 and 3-inch cores. We'll go ahead and remove that. When we are putting the roll on the spindle, I'm basically looking down on this gray edge, which is fixed. I can't move it. And I'm going to let the paper wind clockwise down around the spindle as I'm looking down on it. So basically, when I've got the gray on the right hand side where it's supposed to be, the paper is winding down into the printer. So once I've got that loaded, we'll just go ahead and take the black end cap, slide it on, and again, it will adjust. If you have an 8-inch roll of paper, just slide that down to the 8-inch portion. We'll drop the spindle in. Alright, at this point, our front panel will say one of 2 things. It'll say insert paper until message on LCD panel changes, or if it's not ready to receive the paper, again, I'm going to hit the paper or the roll paper load button to basically get it ready to receive the roll. So what we'll do is we'll just pull the paper, and then load it down into the machine. And then on the front panel, it says press the paper roll paper button. So we'll go ahead and push that. The printer will automatically grab the roll, pull it in, and then load it into the machine. Once it pulls it in, there is a loading process. The head will come out and actually measure the paper to see how wide it is, and then make sure that the paper is straight as well. Basically, that's all there is to loading and unloading roll paper. So after we've done the printhead alignment, the next step is to go ahead and connect the printer to our computer or to our network. There's two options for this. To our computer, we can connect it via a standard USB cable. Now, we recommend no longer than 15 feet. We have tested some longer cables out to 32 feet, but they are powered USB. If you have any questions on that, call DTG. The other methodology is the built-in Ethernet port. So we can connect it to our hub or router. We can also connect it directly to our computer's Ethernet port if we have a crossover cable on our network cable. When we do connect via Ethernet, you'll have to set up your IP address settings. You can do that from the front panel, or you can do it from the Epson Net Config software. If you do have any questions at all about connecting the printer to the network, just please contact DTG's tech support staff, and we can help you through that process. But go ahead and connect the printer through either USB or Ethernet at this point, and then we'll install the software. So in the black case, the black leather case with your user manual, is the installation CD-ROM. Now this is the Epson driver and some utilities for communicating with the network ports. The software is basically a driver with ICC profiles for the Epson standard papers.